Talk a little bit about snapper season. You know, of course, we're doing King Mackerel seminar tonight. My name is Tim Broom with Hitch. This is Bob Sharp with Star Rods. But I don't know if everybody heard or not. We came out with the federal snapper season today. Federal season will be 3 days. We'll get 78 days, I think, of state water season. But so federal snapper the first 3 days of June. State snapper season is open this weekend. If anybody's interested, there's a couple tournaments coming up. This weekend is the Bud Puckers Red Snapper Tournament. It's $200 entry fee for 2 anglers, $3,000 for first, $2,000 for second, $1,000 for third. Pretty good little tournament there. And then the Royal Rumble Coat Red Snapper Tournament is June the 10th. So, a couple things to look forward to coming up.
All right. Can you hear me, guys? I'm real loud. You probably don't even need that thing. First of all, I want to reiterate what Todd said. This is a great boat. We've got one, and I've had 2 of them. My family, my brother has had 2 of them. We got the 24 edge, same color, same everything. What a great fishing boat. Everything he said was absolutely on point, and I've been on everything. I promise you. I've been in the tackle industry. Me and Tim have been in the tackle industry since they invented the fiberglass pole. So that we've been around for quite some time. I've had the opportunity of fishing a lot of the King Mackerel tournaments from North Carolina to Key West all the way up around Louisiana, and also had an opportunity to fish with some of the best guys in the world as far as King Mackerel fishing. I've also, and I want to qualify my personal self as just being a weekend fisherman. I've got a 24-foot sea hunt. We love it. It's a great boat. It's a family boat that we take our kids out and we have a good time. We can do anything that we want to do in that boat. And as far as king fishing goes, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening first with the king and when they're here. In this area, the northern Gulf, the king come up from South Florida area. I've got one of my partners who lives in Tampa, and he'll tell me, hey, we had a great run of king. Y'all should be getting them within a month or so. So they have a pretty good run of king, not real good Spanish. I think they're more offshore. We're seeing a ton of kings right now on the beach. So in this time of year, my favorite time of year to kingfish is in May and in September and October. And all through the summer, they're here too. But this is when there's some really big fish around. There's not a whole heck of a lot of bait, but they're really moving with the bait. So this is the best opportunity to catch a really big one. And most of them are a little bit closer inshore than they would be, let's say, in June and July and August. They move a little further offshore, and they move on to some bigger structure, feed on bigger baits and all that stuff. As we all know, the stick-on minnows and the thread fins and the herring and all that stuff are moving down the coast, and that's what they're following. So this is the best time, I think, to king mackerel fish. And it's also a very good time to be while you're king mackerel fishing. The same exact technique is a wahoo opportunity. Very, very, very good. For the first 2 weeks in May, I caught the biggest wahoo I've ever caught. And I was kingfishing in the king mackerel tournament in Biloxi, Mississippi years ago. We caught 3 over 100. So right now, both king and wahoos are moving this way, and I think it's a great time of year. So be ready that any time, between now and the end of May is a really good opportunity to catch a really big king mackerel. So now we kind of know, when they're here, you can fish with them all summer long for them. When you can go is when it's the best time to go. And most of the time I can take off a weekend and go, what have you. But again, if I can get off in the first 2 weeks of May and go, I'm going. The tackle that we use, we've got a few things here that I wanted to show you. Some old school, some new school, and some spinning. And all 3 of these rods and reels have one thing in common, or a couple of things in common. And I'll use the old school unit, because this is, I've caught more fish on this combination, including 100-pound wahoos on this, than anything. You can see that, I'll hand that to Tim. I usually use 25 to 30-pound line with everything. I use a real light tip. You see how light that tip is? Super light. See how smooth the drag is? Super, super smooth. And, you know, so that's what I'm going to use. That's what I'm looking for when I go king mackerel fishing. I'm going to have a 6.5 or 7 foot. I prefer a 7 foot rod, a super light tip, because I'm live bait fishing most of the time. And in a reel that can have a capacity of at least 300 yards, 25 or 30. Some people like to use 20. I like 25, and a lot of times I'll use 30, just depending on where I'm going. Like we fish the oil rigs a lot, so I want to have something I can put a little bit more pressure on, but not a lot. And also the key to it is drag and line capacity. And everything I use is going to be the same. All of my tackles the same. If I'm kingfishing, it's going to be this outfit right here. And then you can put that down, Tim. And this is a brand new, which is a Calicut with one of the new plasma series star rods. And this combination is very expensive. It's nice. It's got the graphite reel seat. It's got the the alloy guides. It's got everything. But the one thing it does have in common with that one is 20 years old. It's got a light tip. It's got the same capacity. And I've got 25 to 30 pound line on it. Then when we go over to a spinning tackle, we'll say it again. A lot of people like to use braid on their spinning tackle, and that's okay. But I'm going to put a shock leader on my spinning tackle. It's going to be 10 feet long, of maybe 30 to 40 pound line. You can probably do 50, or you can, but I don't even use fluorocarbon. The reason being is fluorocarbon doesn't stretch much. Because braid is really unforgiving if you don't have this tip. So me and Tim were just talking about a cobia they lost this week, because the braid just pulls right out. And king mackerel, a 50 pound king mackerel has a face about this wide, and an area about this big where you can get a hook in to horse him in enough, to lock him down and break. So you want something that's going to give. You want the tip to be able to take slack, or give like a shock absorber, and you want some line to give you a shock absorber. Monofilament is good when you're fishing for pelagics, in my opinion. See how light that is there? This is a great combo that they have to have this too. This is great because see how this tip, if I live bait like cigar nails, that is mostly what we have around here, he's going to be able to bounce around real nice. And if that was just a solid rod where he couldn't bounce around, he'd just be jerking and all that stuff, and it kills him really quick. With this, you have that's more forgiving, and when the fish takes off, it loads the rod, and you'll know what's happening. The guy, the captain running the boat or whatever, can see that rod load up, and he can do whatever he has to do, maybe run him down or back up, whatever he needs to do. And that drives way too tough. And we'll talk a little bit about drag and all that stuff later, and clickers. That's another thing. You want to have a good clicker on everything you use and have the clicker on. Because a couple of things, one thing is, you've got 2 guys in the boat know what they're doing and 2 that probably don't. And they're all looking forward. And if you don't have your clicker on and you're driving, they're looking forward, the other guy's rigging something up, you'll just hear your reel go ting, 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 ting. And you got half a spool out and the king's gone, running. So you need a clicker. That's the alarm clock. Everybody get up. Let's get it on. And also the captain running the boat will know if that clicker's going, he needs to make a move. If it's not, the guy's reeling, then we're in good shape. So everything that I use personally is the same. I don't get on somebody else's boat and they say, well, I got a couple of 6/0 and with 50 on, that'll be okay. I said, no. I take 3 mile rods and I take them with me just in case. Because I really only fish with 3 rods anyway. So does everybody understand how that works? Everybody clear on the rods and reels and stuff? That is the key to it. I fish with Marcus Kennedy and over in Mobile. I fish with Clayton Kirby in Jacksonville. All these guys do the same things. They get probably as many bites maybe as y'all may, but they catch the fish only because they're consistent with everything they do. You don't have that one rod out there that has 50 pounds on it, you got roller guides on it, and you get a bite and it's just boom, there he goes, he's gone. Because you've got that one piece of equipment. If you've only got one or 2 rods that fit this description, that's all I would use.
So Bob, let me ask you a question. I noticed, on my rig, I like high vis.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed you have blue.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a good, bad, indifferent, right, wrong?
I use the Andy backcountry because it's really good line. We've got a line that is high visibility, that's not quite as soft and forgiving as that line. I don't mind high visibility line, but I'm usually going to put something like clear at least 5 yards or so in front of my leader. That's the way I feel about it. High vis is not a big deal. I just personally like that particular line of fish with.
And talking about Andy line, this is backcountry blue, and you have monster blue.
Yeah.
Good or bad for monster blue for this, or it's become very popular with a lot of our anglers, and that's what I was asking.
Monster blue is a single polymer line, which means that it's very, very tough. It's got a lot of memory, which is great for offshore fishing. If anybody tells you that memory is not good at offshore fishing, well, it's really good. That is a copolymer line, which is 2 different types of nylon meshed together, and it's a little more supple and softer, and it's a little stretchier, a little bit more stretchier. The monster line is great, and just the regular Andy Premium is great. It's just a preference, So I'm a rep for Andy, and I just always, when they came out with that backcountry, I thought it was really great. And the monster blue is fantastic. It is tough. It is tough. And Tim, you probably attest that by how much you sell. And Tim jumped on it first. When he first came out with it, he just goes, wham, at one of our trade shows. And the rest of these guys are going, well, they're a little sketchy. He's got more experience with that line than anybody in our country. So if he thinks that that's the way to go, that's the way to go.
I like it. I have a lot of guys that want to put it on spinning reels, and I keep trying to explain that to them. It is a very stiff line. Mm-hmm. It is not a spinning reel line.
No.
But I haven't convinced some of them that is. You might as well be. I love it for its purpose, but as far as the casting line, it's like throwing a rope.
Right, exactly. And that's what it's made for. It's made for conventional reels, and most of it's offshore fishing from marlin and yellowfin and all that, because it's very forgiving. It does have memory, which memory is really good when it comes to that situation. With the Kingfish, not so much. I like something that's very forgiving. I love a shock absorber in the water with a blade that can run like a wahoo or a king. I don't want to have so much tension on it that every time his head shakes, my rod goes like this, or line comes off. I like my line loading up and coming back, loading up, and that's just almost like a drag. You don't thumb a fish, and you'll see a rod will load up enough to where you can let him go. Instead, you can't do that with braid. You just thumb and it'll just go boom, pop, and that'll be it. So I like some forgiving line, something that's supple, and I think that the backcountry is fantastic.
So I had that one just rigged up in the drag was real tight. You mentioned how tight the drag was. For Kingfish, I know we want a really light drag. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of get that into pounds of drag for somebody? We want to set that on a scale so they're consistent with what we're doing?
Sure. 2 to 4 pounds, believe it or not. 2 to 4. And we were going to go into that a little bit later when we went into some techniques about catching. But you don't want, these fish, a 25-pound king and a 50-pound king are going to run with 30-pound line. It's just, you're not going to just do like a jack, you got to let him go. Let him go. That's the funnest thing about kingfishing, in my opinion. That's why they call them smokers. It's smoking the reel. Everybody's, freaking out. This is awesome. This is him. We know because he's just started smoking. That gives you enough time to hold the rod, and he's still smoking out. And you go to the bow of the boat, look at the captain up there, or whoever's running the boat. You're going, he's still smoking, and you just let him go. And once he starts slowing down, you move the boat forward and get line on him. And he'll take another run, and we'll talk about that a little later. But drag is not as important. It's just keeping him tight. And if he's moving that way, let him go. And if he's not, you move him this way. And we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. But terminal tackle, things that we know about the rods and reels, and we know when the fish are here. Now we got to figure out what we're going to use to catch them. And there's a whole bunch of different techniques for beginners, people who just want to get out there and fish around the buoys out here, out front, off the beach, fish around the schools of bait, have fun with their kids and all that. There's a whole bunch of range of things you can use. Tim rigged up you still have that?
It's going around.
Okay, good. That's the Yozuri with the trolling lead. You can fix that up with, in combination with this duster. Have y'all seen these dusters before? This one's rigged a little different than you'll notice. This one I've rigged just like a live bait rig. I use the same rig on every king I catch. It's got a small hook, a nose hook, and a treble hook. And it's on braided line, braided wire, 40 to 60. I usually use 40 in this case. This case is maybe 60. And I'll pass this around. So now you've got a Yozuri plug deep. You've got a dead cigar minnow that you hook through the eyes of the nose, and you side hook it with this. Put the thing next to the boat while you're trolling, and make sure it's not spinning. You remember the old time ones with the big box and has 3 big giant hooks in it? Well, I'm not big on that, because most of the time you're using the frozen bait. Sometimes those frozen baits just don't hold up. This will work a lot longer, and it's a lot more subtle than that rig, that box rig you used to use years ago. But it's the same principle. So I'll pass this around too.
So what's the key to getting that dead cigar minnow not to spin on that rig?
Good question. See how long my leader is? It's not that long. 50-pound king mackerel from the tip of his nose to the back of his stomach is probably about this long, a little bit shorter. Or if people say, well, I get tail lift, the fish breaks my line. Well, he's going to break your line, because if you want to have a 6-foot leader, most of these baits won't swim very well with 6-foot leaders. So I take the chance. I'm going to keep a smaller, shorter, subtle-looking little leader that works real good in the water. Tim's question was, how do you not make it spin? What I usually do is I'll hook him, through the eye, and I'll hook him in the back. And I don't want this part of the line to be just stretched out tight. I want a little bit of slack in it. That's why 7-strand is better than single wire, in my opinion, because it looks how much more flexible it is. So I'll put it next to the boat, and I'll have to swivel a rod tip, and I'll let it out a little bit right before the first wake in the clear water, and as this thing is underwater, I yank it a few times, and it'll just straighten up and do this. If it doesn't, readjust your hook, put it back in, and yank it a little bit, and just watch it swim. As long as it's not doing this, it's perfect. When it looks good, you let it out.
And you said in between the eyes, are you hooking them sideways this way, or are you coming up from the box?
Yes, good question. Sideways through the eyes or through the nose. It's got the 2 nose cavities on there. Depending on the size of the bait. So I'll pass this around too. So at that, this is like the beginning stages. You want to just go out with your kids and all, put 2 of those together. They've got it in habits. They make them pre-made already, and you can make them yourself. And I'll show y'all how to make these rigs after we get done. And then you control a plastic bait like that Yozuri, like a big stretch 25, the 30 rather. I like the stretch 25s. I like, okay. I like the stretch 25s are really nice. They just go down, you put that in the back, you put that bait there. My boat is along with a lot of the boats. You can see this is what the difference between somebody doing some really thinking about a boat. See that rod holder right there? That's specific for kingfisher. I mean, it used to be years ago, they never put that rod holder on there, but now it's on most great boats, especially this boat. Every one of them have that rod holder, which is nice, because I can fish out of the back, I can fish out of this gun, I can fish up there. So you got a lot of opportunity to keep your baits away from each other without having outrage. So those are 2 easy rigs to use if you just want to troll. And then here's the next question: how fast are we going? Well, traditionally with like a trolling lead and that little skirted rig there, you put a cigar minnow on, or you can put a strip bait on for that matter too. I like strip bonita. It stays on good, it looks good, you know, the fish love it. Especially those school ones. You know. I generally like to go, you know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 knots. But I'm not just putting it at 4 knots and going. I'm going to look and see how things look. Because when that gizzard is down, that rod is going to do this. And when you see it do this, that's running great. If that cigar mill is right under the surface, that's perfect. It doesn't need to be skipping. So if that gizzard is going, that means you're going too fast. And what it's doing is it's sticking and it's popping out and then catching back up again. You know what I'm saying? So you want to see that rod just doing this, like that, and you know that gizzard bait you're pulling is right on time. And that other bait's a little more forgiving in that you can use it on different speeds. But you're kind of adjusting to that gizzard. A lot of times I'll use a larger bait than that without a trolling lead, like a 25 or even a 30. Especially if I'm around the edge, somewhere out a little deeper. But I know I could probably get a big bite or something on a blackfin or something like that, a little bit bigger hooks and all. But and also that'll pull that right there will pull your drag out. You know what I mean? If we're too light, you look up your rod and it's just your line's easing out. Tighten up your drag just enough so your line doesn't go out. You don't need it tightened down to full on that. Because once he crushes it, the neat thing about trolling is when they hit it, they're going pretty fast, other than like live bait trolling. So, you know, you're going to have the hook set in it. You just don't want it so tight it goes, pow, you know. You want it decent enough. You can always reach there and tighten it a little as he runs. But you're not going to get another chance if it's too tight and just swoop like that. There's little treble hooks and everything in it. There's no reason to set the hook or anything like that. It'll get itself in there pretty quick. So that's just, what's that?
So while you're on lures, and you may disagree or agree with me or something, when they're setting up their trolling pattern, you know, I know for me, I like my largest lure to be closest to the boat.
Yep.
And so I'm progressively getting smaller as I get away. And also that largest lure is my darkest lure, and I'm working out to a very light color.
Right.
And if you notice the spacing that I have, that everything is at a different distance. So that when you turn, the lines can go underneath each other and come back out, and things don't tangle. If all these lines are at the same distance, when you make a turn, everything just went.
Yeah, you're twangled. And there's nothing worse than twangle when you got 3 kids screaming. So, because, you know, we're just starting out that first level with every family, friends, and all that. If you haven't done it much, that's a great point Tim made. You know, I'm going to put my big giant Yozuri, my stretch 30, that Yozuri with the lead on it. I'm going to put one of the dusters I just spread around there and maybe stick another one back here. But, you know, like you said, when you turn, I mean, so it's a perfect illustration of how your bait should be out. You don't need everything. These fish don't fight. They're not running from your boat. Most of the time, they're coming toward it. So a bait from me to the end of that red carpet, that's fine. My short bait's going to be right there. From here to the end of that carpet, it's going to be digging. I've caught a king mackerel with a live bonita, whole bonita, regular bonita. We tripped his tail and dropped him right behind the prop wash. I mean, I'm talking behind the prop wash. You know, woo, just piled up on it. So, I mean, if you want to see, feel like, you're setting everything way back because, you're thinking you're scaring the fish, that's not it. If it's calm, put things back a little further. And if it's rough, bring it all in toward close to you because so you'll be able to work with it a lot easier. So that's kind of the way to do it. If just to troll around the schools of bait and all that stuff. There's some other ways to catch king mackerel that I do most 99% of the time I go fishing, and that's live bait fishing. And these are the rigs, basic rigs that I use. And it depends on the bait that we get, and we'll talk a little more about bait here in a minute. But 40 to 60 pound braided line. And I tie all this stuff on, and I'll show you guys how to tie one up here shortly if I get this one untangled. It's real subtle. Can y'all even see the line? See, that's what they want. It's got a nose hook, and this is a #1 owner 3X treble hook that's super, super sharp. You can use must-have hooks or anything like that. But this is light. The whole thing is light because the bait that I'm using for this particular rig, and I'm going to have it in a bag, it's going to say cigar minnow or a thread fin or something like that. This rig is what I'm going to use for a lighter bait. Because I don't want to use a leader that's 60 pounds, 6 foot long, with 3 hooks on it, and stick a live cigar minnow on it. And he goes, good, and he's dead. I want him to be able to shake around with this in his mouth and run around with it without too much trouble. Because what I like to do is slow troll, and I'm bumping my boat in and out of gear, and we'll show you about that a little bit later. But I'm just keeping that boat, all my lines tight. I'm not dragging them, just keeping my lines tight around the wreck or structure on the bottom. So this is one of the better rigs for like a cigar minnow and all that. It's 7 strand, or that's American fishing wire or what have you. And I'll hook him right in the nose, and I'll leave some slack and hook him in the back with it. That's one rig. Here's another rig. This is a little heavier. This is 60-pound leader. This is a big 1/0 owner hook with a nose hook. And this is what I use for like hardtails or anything big, a mullet, hardtail, anything like that. You can see the difference in the length from the hook here to there. I'll build my stuff I use my tackle based on the bait I've got. If I've got hardtails this long, I'm going to make that rig long enough for that hardtail. Even if I've fished with hardtails this big, and I've had 3 hooks in him along with the nose hook. Some people like to use treble hooks as a nose hook, and that's okay. I don't like to do it only because with these big baits, you're trying to get this in there, and then he flops out of your hand, and now you got one of this hook in you and that hook in you, and I don't know whether y'all had that happen before, but it's terrible. I've had hooks all in me, but I'll spread this one over here. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit longer, and the next one that I use with both light and heavy rig is I'll use something with a little duster on the front. These are really cool. They attract fish. I'm not real keen on the ones that are just purple or pink or blue and nylon, or like a skirted, a rubber skirt or something. I like the mylar, anything as clear as I can get, because there's 2 reasons for that. One is it looks more natural in the water, it's flashier. It's not just like a blue thing hanging off its nose. It's flashier and kind of catches their eye. And here's the thing that I saw. I was fishing around an oil rig one time, and I had one of this rig out with a hardtail out on the side. And I was over there watching that bait, and he was swimming really hard, and he was shaking this. And there was about 10 other fish following him, hardtails, trying to get what they thought he was eating minnows. They thought he was, that's the only guy I could think of, that he was eating minnows or something. They can't stand it, so they're piling up on him. I'm going to cook myself in a minute. They're piling up on that bait, and all of a sudden they're gone, and the 50-pound king just, So I really like these pencil dusters, and they work really well, especially with bigger baits on down riggers and stuff too. So that's my 3 basic rigs that I use. I'll show you guys again when we get done, or if we have time, I'll show you how to rig a rig like that. And some of you guys, how many of you guys use regular single wire? Yeah, that's okay. That's cool. I've used both. I think I can build 20 to 1 rigs with that versus a single wire. 2, is those are a little more forgiving, and they got leader straighteners. We didn't bring, did we, Tim? Nope. But there's straighteners that have it. It's a little thing that you put on that leader. If it's kink, you just, and we'll straighten it right on out. So, and also, Sea Striker is another company I work for. They build a rig similar to that, just like it. This is perfect for cigar minnows and all that. And they built this rig based on, their history in North Carolina, really catching a lot of big king mackerel. Most of those guys that work for Sea Striker were commercial fishermen that did it every year. What you doing, Tim? You gonna build you one? So those are my hook rigs. And if you've got a big bait, you can add a third one, and I'll show you how to do all that at the end. If you've got does anybody use like ribbon fish, cutlass fish, or anything like that? Well, they're about this long, and you can just build one of those rigs, boom, 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 layer a bunch of treble hooks on it, and put that dust on the front of it. That's really deadly, deadly, deadly on downriver. They love those things. It's one of their natural baits. But, so now we've got our tackle laid out pretty good. Fishing techniques we're going to talk a little bit more about as far as our live bait fishing. But the first thing, I think I'll skip to that and go to the bait catching, and the bait getting, and the bait maintenance, and how you work your bait to make it last the whole day, and all that. These boats usually have 30 to 50 gallon live wells on them. Do you have a bait boat here out here?
Yes.
There's a bait boat out here. You can get cigar minnows and have some hardtails and stuff. There's also sabiki rigs, so you can Tim's rigged one of these up right here that I really love. Especially if you have kids and stuff on board. You use a sabiki rig, you throw it into a school of cigar minnows or thread pins or what have you, even if there's some hardtails, and you load up on some bait. Let me give you a little piece of advice. You throw it up there, throw it past the school, and reel it up into them and just let it kind of drift through like this. Don't even jig it, just let it drift through. And as it hits the sweet spot, just let it load up and don't set the hook. Just start reeling, really reel. And now here's the very most important part of the bait. Okay, let's say there's 5 baits on there. So you just take them and drop them in the boat. And the baits are going all everywhere, and you've got to unhook your own baits, and your sabiki rig's tangled, and you're out of the game. Here's what you need to do. You've got your 5 baits on there. You pull it up like this. You got your baits going. I'm reaching over to Tim. Tim's unhooking those baits, and he's putting them in a live well. He's not fishing. Joe's running the boat. Tim's unhooking. Fred and Jim are catching bait. Not everybody. Keep the boat in the area. Got a guy with a little de-hooker. Throw it back out there. Catch the bait. Boom, go back over to Tim, he's unhooking everything, putting it in the live well. So that's how you keep yourself from going through all these. And as soon as you drop in the bottom of the boat, it's going to tangle all over the place, and it's going to be a mess. So you'll see the school of cigar minnows and all the bait, especially this time of year, they're pretty easy to catch. If you can find some hardtails, we've got some little bit bigger sabiki type rigs. And even something you control with, like this. This is the bark spoon Christmas tree. You control with this. This with your little stuff. You can put it's got a spoon on the back and catch some big hardtails on the beach this time of year. Or you can use the owner makes a great big sabiki rig. If you see hardtails and stuff, and you keep them, they're bending out these hooks. Go to a bigger rig. That's going to be the difference, because I like big baits, and I cannot lie. I really love anything like for kingfish. I like the big hardtail and stuff. People say, "Oh, I've been doing this for a while." I think, "Well, I've got I don't want to do that." This guy's thinking in the back of mine. I've got a pinfish trap in my backyard. I live on the bayou, so I'm just going to throw them pinfish in there and fish with them. I mean, you're not going to catch anything, 1, and 2, they can't hold up to what you're trying to do. That is not the fish to use for king mackerel fishing, my personal opinion.
Talking about little bait rigs, for me, that's the one rig that I hate the most. And, my idea of catching bait, my first choice is to call live bait guys and go, "Hey, I need 2 scoops of bait." That's my first choice. But when they don't have bait, you do have to go out and catch bait. But I hate these little rigs, you know, I like to sell them, but I hate them. And the boat is, they're always, this thing is, after we get done catching bait, it's a disaster. But I have found the little thing that we do on my boat, by the T-top, I normally have about 4 bait rigs ready to go. Well, I have 4 pieces of half to 3/4 inch PVC that are this long, and they're zip tied to the T-top, and they got little notches in the top of them. So when we get done catching bait, I take the lead, drop the whole rig inside of the tube and hang the top clip on it. And each tube has a bait rig in it.
Nice.
And that way, the whole rest of the day, we're not fighting this stupid little hook somewhere, whether it's up on the T-top or underneath a gun or wherever. I hate that.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so easy to store all that stuff.
And that's a great tip because, you know, sometimes you want to take them off once you get some bait, then you'll be riding offshore and you'll find another bigger school of bait and you'll want to catch them. So you want to keep one on all the time, but like Tim said, you know, I've fished with guys who have put them in a console rod holder. So you're walking by and every time, you know, it's for sure, it's just terrible. They're a necessary evil. Again, Tim said the bait boat's a nice deal to walk the, you know, it's easy money, you know, you got a bunch of money in your trips and you don't get a lot of time off. And if you can go and get some of those baits, I generally go there and I'm going to find some bigger baits. I'm going to spend my time catching bigger baits, hardtails.
How big is too big and how small is too
For
small? Cigar minnows that we have out
good question. Tim, you got it?
Cigar minnows.
So
No,
there's
No, he means the rig.
It's a beak.
He means the size of the rig.
Oh, the size of the rig. Somewhere around, so like the rig that's going around, the 3 rigs that are going around, there's 2 of them that are hardtail rigs, and the smaller rig, the Sea Striker rig, that's a cigar minnow.
That's small. Yeah, the 2 that are going around with the colored skirts are for hardtail. The other stuff is actually, if there's an owner one in there, owner puts actual fish skin, dried fish skin wrapped on their rig. That's why they're a little more expensive. And it makes a difference a lot of times, especially with cigar minnows will bite. The bad thing about it is that it dries out after that first day, and the second day it may not work as well. You may have to throw it back. But those are dressed with original fish skin, which that's why they're, you know, a couple of bucks more expensive. Although they'll feel like the Sea Striker stuff is good if they're really thick and not finicky. And they get finicky from time to time. But usually the scaled fish are over the top, and the cigar minnows, the slimy fish, the slippery fish, are what I call are on the bottom of the. So you have the thread fins, or what we call herring. What would you call them? They're
We have regular herring and thread fin herring.
yeah. So some of them call them scaled sardines or whatever, but we call them herring. That's one of my favorite baits. They're hard to keep alive. So now we've kind of discovered how we catch the bait. And there's a couple of rules of thumb that I use as far as bait goes. If I've got a 50-gallon live well, and I've got 200 baits in it, I can tell you right now that those baits are not going to live long enough to get to where I'm going. Half of them are going to be dead. There's going to be scales everywhere. My bait well, they're going to be beat up, and you'll find 1 out of 5 that are good enough to use. If I've got a 50-gallon bait well, I'll use 2 to 3 baits per gallon. The cigar minnows, 1 to 2 with the herring, and 1 bait per gallon for big hardtails. You just can't stuff it full of bait and different kinds of baits because their activity is totally different. You've got 2 live wells, that's awesome. With all your cigar minnows in one, and you got your hardtails in another. But once you stuff it, oh man, we just make one more throw or catch one more, we almost got it stuffed to the top. Well, that's not helping you any because a lot of them will die on the way, especially if you're making a long trip and it's rough. So the flip side of that is not if you don't have enough baits. You've got 10 or 15 live baits for the whole day. You know, how are you going to manage those baits? Well, the first thing you have to know is you have to have at least, I would say, I use a 1,500 rule pump for my live well. I want more water coming in that's going out, obviously. I've been on guys' boats that just, their live well's bubbling over them. So, man, what's wrong? Well, I just put a bigger pump in there. the bigger the pump, the bigger the hole the water needs to go out. It's got to circulate in and out and stay at that same level. You know what I mean? You've been with anybody that's just blowing out of their live well and all that stuff. Or if you don't have enough aeration, you know, you're just going to die. And if you feel like you don't have enough, don't stuff it full of bait because you'll just die. Check your bait if it's rough, especially if you take it on a long trip. Check it. Pull it back and look and make sure that's what you're using. That's the goal, you know. So you want to make sure your bait is healthy, and you want to manage your bait accordingly. Tim's written down some baits right there that are great for catching king mackerel.
So for the guys out here, I just wrote a bunch of different things up on here. Can you rank these from 1 to however many I wrote?
Okay.
What's 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4?
If I'm really going kingfish and I'm going where I want to go, this is different than just going out front and all this stuff. We're going to go tournament fish or something. This is going to be funny. That's number 1 right there. It's a live bonita. It doesn't matter how big he is. Number 2, it's going to be a hardtail because those are always around where we're fishing anyway. Why can I just do this? Yeah, there you go. My bad. Number 3 would probably be a big mullet because over in the when they're dumping out in the fall in Louisiana over there, there's a huge mullet run that goes out and there's giant king mackerel right there out of the mouth over there. Number 4 would be this, but this is my all-time favorite only because number 5 would be here. I love him, but he doesn't stay alive very long. Number 6 is, these two are about the same. And bluefish is number 7 because they're hard to find. If I could find bluefish, they would be ranked way up there too. And they also bite the heck out of me. So I've caught, the biggest king mackerels I've caught were on hardtails and bonita. Big bonita, that big. So big, he just, you know, he's really shaking. And I'll take a pliers or whatever, and I'll clip his tails about this much on each end, and I'll pin him down with a rig that's like this, but I'll have a bonita rig ready to go all the time when I'm fishing these bigger tournaments and stuff. I'll have a rig that has 5 of these big giant hooks on it and a big nose hook. And I'll just pin him up, put him behind the boat, put it in gear, and make him swim back there, and you're right, just dig it. And boom, you can catch a big king mackerel, and don't be afraid of it. And that's kind of a more advanced scenario. But the reason that bonita's number 1 is because if you catch him there, you know there's going to be some big fish around. It's usually around an oil rig or a big rock or something like that that holds the bigger fish. You can't keep them alive. You can't put them in a live well. When you catch them, you got to put them out. You got to put them out. You can't keep them alive. There's no way. If you have tuna tubes, well, that's a different story. And the tubes are great too. If you have tubes on your boat, like this, hardtails, you could put more than 1 in the tube. If you got tubes on your boat, you can put 4 or 5 hardtails in each tube. And they'll just live just perfect. As long as they're fitting in there, they're fine. So for those of you who have tubes, that's a cool thing. Around here, we're going to do this is going to, these 2 right here are probably going to be a mainstay. And thread fins in the middle of the summer. Now those thread fins are going to be. I live in Pensacola, so in Pensacola Bay in the summer they're just all in the bay. Just catching the sabiki rigs. They're pretty hardy. They're a little bit bigger than a herring, and they work great. But I'm definitely going to manage my bait. Manage your bait. That's huge, man. You got to have somebody that's that understands. Your turn to go. You go check the bait. You're in charge of the bait while we're running, while we're doing everything. You may have a mullet. That's and ladyfish is great too. They're just hard to keep alive.
What about menhaden?
Menhaden are good. But that's my last resort because you got to catch them with a net. They die very easy, and everybody on the East Coast and all that stuff. I've fished on the East Coast and these guys, and you got to have really small stuff like I just showed you. Smaller hooks, because they're so weak. You know, you put them behind your boat, you put a hardtail behind your boat, he takes off. You know, he's hardy. I like the hardy fish, but if that's all you can find is menhaden, they're great. You know, I've fished plenty of times, but I just don't want to have to throw the net and get them when I've got schools of hardtails and cigar minnows out here in this beautiful Gulf of Mexico. In the fall, though, that would be something to go to. Especially, you know, like I live in Pensacola Bay. They caught 50-pounder right next to the Bay Bridge last year. So, I mean, he was calling me. Hey,
What about this ruby lip and mingoes? Well,
I don't mind mingoes. I've used them before, caught some bigger fish on. But ruby lips, they're just, you know, they'll just, you can fly line one out the back of the boat when you're bottom fishing. He may bite it, he may not. I'm just not keen on that. Those type of fish. It reminds me of like using a pinfish. You know, he's going to end up doing this. And if you got, I would rather throw a dead cigar minnow on the back of the boat and use a live ruby lip. To be honest with you, if I'm bottom fishing or king mackerel, because they like dead eggs. They love it. You know, and if you're anchored. If you're on a wreck, you know, I use the same tackle, the same everything. If I've got, you know, a dead cigar minnow, I'll throw it out the back of the boat. You've got a little current there. He's doing this. You're wrong. Nothing should change as far as the tackle and your leaders and everything, depending on the technique. I slow troll, basically. So we'll go into that and how that works. Basically, let's say that you know, I'm fishing out front here. I'm going to the timber holes over here, which is a great place to catch kings, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a big area, so you don't have to zone in on one little spot like you're snapper fishing. You know, you're looking at, I got 2 or 3 clicks to go, a quarter of a mile to go to the timber holes. I'm going to get everything ready to go. Let's take this scenario and say I've got 10 baits. That's it. That's all I could find was 10. So I've got 5 rods rigged and ready to go. Would I fish all 5 of those rods at the first spot with only 10 baits? I'd fish 2. I'd put my 1 bait down on downrigger and 1 on top. And just bump it in and out of gear and find those big spots and then just kind of hold up on top of that. I want everything to be stretched up behind the boat, but I'm not trolling. I don't have it at 2 knots, just, you know, I'm bumping it in and out, moving along just enough to keep all that stuff straightened out and to stay over the zone. So if the current's going, if you're going against the current, you want to just bump it in and out. And then the perfect scenario is another boat anchored off half a quarter of a mile away or right over there, because he's probably bottom fishing. So that's my marker. I don't have to throw a marker. He's on top of what I need to be. So I'm just going to work myself around him about 50 yards. I can see his boat. I mean, his boat's pointing that way. I know the current's going that way. And I'm working my boat over these rocks, easing around. And when I turn back around, I know I'm going down sea or down current. So I'm really backing off and making sure that I'm not pulling these baits and drowning and stuff. I want them to be natural. They can be in that area as I move around. If I've got a live well full of bait, I'm going to go similar to the pattern that Tim is showing, just with live bait. I'm not the downrigger. I usually just take 1. Sometimes I take 2 if it's tournament fishing, but I don't mind just 1. I'll put a downrigger down. I'll put a flat line there. I'll put 2 baits out on the side, and that's it. Usually I just troll 3, but sometimes I'll troll 4. I've got plenty of baits. I'll put my big baits behind the boat, my small baits out wide, and ease around. I'm just bumping, man. I'm looking for stuff on my bottom machine, I'm looking for other bait. You get a bite, you push man overboard, and you start from there. Then we go into the next thing. It's about, let's see, I'm looking at my notes here, make sure I don't miss something. Where to fish, you know. I like this time of year, you can fish from the beach to the ledges. Because now the bait's here, it's just showed up, and these fish are coming to them. So they're catching, 30-pounders on the pier right now? Mm-hmm. A friend of mine just had like 2 big, giant 30-pounders on the bar pier. So why run all the way out to the edge or something when the fish are here on the beach? You find a school of bait, you know, you got some bait, you catch them. Just get on the outside of them, slow troll around them, and you'll catch a fish, I guarantee you. You'll catch a fish. If that doesn't work, go to a local, nearby bottom spot or nearby big, I like big rocks and big natural areas.
Is there any ring patrol guys here? No. You keep out.
Qualification. And Tim knows the area really good. I'm from Pensacola, so I fished out of here a couple of times. King Mackerel fished for most of it, Marlin and Kokia, so he knows the spots a little better than I do. Bad.
So are you following the beach and going?
I'm just looking for schools of bait.
You're just circling around the wreck, you're not picking a pattern, you're not going away from shore north, south?
No, I like the current on me,
Right.
in front of me. Because, if you go diving on the wreck, all the baits face the current. And the reason being is because they're in front of the wreck and they're facing the current. When something comes to attack them, they go down sea, they can go faster and go back to that wreck. So if they were laying up there behind the wreck with the current in their face, they'd take a more energy to get to the wreck and not get ate. Does that make sense? That's why you see a lot of bait out front of these wrecks. So when the predator comes, they just turn around and go down that current and get right on top of that wreck. So if you go diving, you see any dive film, all the bait's usually right over the top and a little bit down, up current of the wreck. If you go to an oil rig, it's just all the bait's up front, up current. On the backside, there's nothing but swirls, where the current is ripping. Look at Tim's guy. Nice. Fish attractive device. My favorite thing to fish around for kingfish, especially this time of year, and especially when the bait's around. You want to tell them about that, Tim, or you want me to? You go ahead.
So, technically, my little thing here, if you ever want to build one of these, you want to make sure that if you're taking it out and somebody stops you, Marine Patrol, Coast Guard, we are not leaving this out overnight. We're going to drop it, we're going to bring it back. It's perfectly legal if you bring it back. So anyway, a fab. This is to attract bait fish. It's to build your own private reef, real simple and easy. It's a 10 by 10 part with 2 pieces of PVC, 2 buoys, at least 15 feet under the water, bridled down to your lead. 75 pounds of steel, 150 pounds of concrete. Keep this sucker down. You figure out where you want to put it. So you want to put it in 80 feet of water. You go in your backyard. So this is, if it's 80 feet of water. So from here to here, 65 feet. So I have it pre-built and know where I'm going to put it ahead of time. I go out there, I deploy the whole fat out into the water, get it all floating with the rope, take the lead, put it up on the gunwale, get ready to mark it, shove it over, boom. Takes about, within a month, it'll produce king mackerel.
Or less. I tell they work great. But the biggest safety thing is what he said is you put your fat out behind the boat, going really slow, that all the line and the weight should be on your gunwale. Don't drop the weight down and freeze pull the line down and let yourself get hooked up that thing and go. You understand? Everything's stretched out behind your boat in the water already. Last thing to go in is push over the weight and just goes thump, and the thing will just go down to the bottom. It's really awesome. And that's an automatic bait holding machine.
And I'm telling you, in the next 2 weeks, if you'll take one, we're going to have some rough days because we're going to have a little weather tomorrow, next day. Over the next 2 weeks, though, this first part of May, there's always days like today when it's just slick calm. There's mornings that I'll go out there, I'm going to start at the pass, and I'm just going to run down to the west. Not really, I'll zig around, just bebop around. These slick calm mornings, everybody's built a bunch of these for cobia fishing. Mm-hmm. And you'll see just a spool of bait trickling over here on top. And then there'll be another spool over here. Well, they're not just, bait fish just aren't aimlessly out in the middle of nowhere. That's not a safe place to be. If you'll drive over to those spools of bait, Ease up to them. Don't try to chase them all down. Just ease up to them. Get as high up on the boat as you can. Start looking in the water. You can find, there's no spring that I don't go in May and find at least 20 on each side of the pass.
Yep.
Just spending a day finding ones that I don't even have to go build. Somebody already did all the work for me.
And they're great to fish. You know, the bait's there, the kings are there, cobias, all kind of opportunity around those. And that's just one part of the equation, you know. Then you can go there, you can go to the regular big reefs, man-made reefs, and you know, you don't have to go right to the big giant man-made reef. There's 5 boats parked on it, and you run right 5 feet in front next to them to go kingfishing. I pull it way back, and I'm 100 or so yards away from it, and I start just working around the edges of the whole thing. I'm not going to pull my baits over the top of the wreck, because the king mackerel are not over the top of the wreck. They're way outside coming in, and they'll bum rush it, and then they'll move back out. So I want to be away from the wreck. Well, A, they won't run into the wreck. Most of the time they don't. B, they won't run under 1,800 people's anchors. And C, I've got them in open water, you know, and they're usually going to bite better than it. A lot of times, if you go to a big rock or something, the first bite you get, a lot of times is the biggest fish. Very, very, very often is the biggest fish. So, you know, I'll go by and I'll mark the big rock and man, this is great. But I'm not going to just troll my bait right over the top of a big structure with a lot of boats and stuff around. I'm going to slow troll around and just bump it in, using that other boat as my reference point. I don't have to drop a buoy. That's my buoy in the water, another boat. And 9 times out of 10, if you do what we're saying here, you're 100% above. You're going to be 90% better than those guys fishing for king mackerel. Because they're out there double, you know, they're throwing, you know, junk in the water, they're chumming, they got sharks up around or whatever. They're using a pinfish on a float or something. You're in there with great bait, like we talked about. Great tackle, really good rigs, and you're easing in and out of gear right there, setting up and just waiting for those big kings to come in and bum rush your bait. So, you know, again, I can't tell you enough about how bait is you need to manage. If you go, like I said, if you go to the spot, you got 10 baits, fish 5 of them in one place, makes for a short day. If I can only fish this one, I'm just going to fish one. See if there's anything around. If I get a bite, then I'll fish again. But I'm not going to drown everything I've got at the first 3 spots and finally find the fish when I've got 2 baits left in my live well. You know what I mean?
That's why you got a bunch of lures.
There you go. Then you start trolling the lures, yeah. And that's not bad, you know, especially this time of year. I love it on the edge this time of year because I know what I can catch. I can catch a big wahoo or a big king. There's not a lot of bonitas there, and the blackfins are there. And just using that same technique with the same tackle. Just because it's a wahoo doesn't mean you have to have a 50 or an 80 in trolling this big giant rubber chicken, you know, 12 knots. The best technique to catch a wahoo is what we're talking about right now. On a big rock or something like that, especially the Exxon 265 rig. I mean, that's an unbelievable area in that area to catch a big wahoo and big king at this time of year. But right out front here, you can have just as much of a chance. My buddy has a boat in Orange Beach, and he's caught 3 big wahoos just incidentally, you know, already this year. So, but the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is about, you know, kind of like the teamwork of catching these guys. You know, now we know that we've got our bait, we've got everything. We have to particularly make each other aware of what your job is. When the reel goes off, it's not everybody onto the gunnel, and whoever gets to it first, he gets it. You know, we're gonna specifically say, you're the angler, I'm gonna run the boat, you're gonna gaff the fish, and little Johnny's gonna clear everything else out. And you can switch all that stuff up, but you gotta know who's who first. Because, you know, you want somebody that's experienced that can run the boat, you want somebody that has a little bit of experience catching the fish, and then the next one would be the gaff, and the other guy would be the hamburger guy or the drink guy. But, you know, once a bite comes, you know, you want to clear everything out. You don't want to do anything different with the boat. Just get everything out, pull up everything, get all your rods up in up in the, I like to put them as far away as I can with all the hooks and stuff in them. And then I want to move the guy to the bow of the boat, let him just walk down the gunwale, and I'll rotate the boat around so he can just walk right up there and the line straight out. I want to be here in that clipper, myself as the boat, blowing the boat. And I want to have a little bit of an angle on the rod so I can see it. I can see the line. And we'll just let him run. Let the fish run. Don't just lock him down. Oh, he's going to spool us. And you put your finger on the spool and because they got such thin skin. And their mouths are not this wide like I mentioned before. So let them run. And then once they slow up, put it in gear. You don't have to run fast and run them down. Put it in gear like the guy, whoever's angling, pump him in or just reel him straight up. And then you'll get some line, and the next thing you know, he's going to feel something different. He's going to run again. If you turn around and do the same thing. You got a guy driving, a guy ready for the gap, the other guy maybe going to the cooler or your fish bag to figure out where you're going to put him. All that stuff needs to be going on. It's not everybody running through the rod and who's doing what. You need to figure that out at the beginning. And that's the difference between these great kingfishermen and some of the guys who miss all these opportunities. Those guys know exactly where to go. They've got 2 pounds and 4 pounds of drag on every reel. They check them. Everything's the same. You don't got a 4-rod out there. And that's why they catch more than they lose. So you got the guy you're moving toward the fish, and that's something that king mackerel does most of the time, is that he'll go real fast and stay on top. If he's going south, that's a good one. For some reason, those big ones, they love going straight south. So we know we're going south. We got a nice one. We're going to get ready. Everybody is getting ready, keeping the rod tight. Although you're running the fish down, not letting you get so much line, trying to get a good. I like an angle about like this. Like just about like that. Not like that. If I can get over him and have like 100 feet or so line, if I can stay on him, that's perfect for me. And then he'll eventually come up. He'll swing around, and he'll see the boat again. And by this time, you want to catch him. You want that fish in this boat. But he's going to go again, and that's when you lose him. He's going to swing around, and he's going to and you're going to thumb that drag because you don't want him to have to reel him again and again. And it's you're going to thumb it, and he's gone. Just let him go again. You can hold the rod like this, and work your way to the bow, and we'll go get him again.
How'd that go again?
I knew he was going to do that. So you do the same exact thing. And then the next time he'll come up. You'll see color, and he'll kind of spin around and come up. Now when you gaff him, like Tim's fighting the fish, and I'm going to be the gaff guy, and the boat's guy's kind of running. You don't stop the boat. Keep the boat moving kind of forward when the fish is swimming there. And I don't want to be in front of Tim. I want to be back here with him. So he's kind of got the fish on this, and he's pulling up side to the side of the boat. And I'm just going to take this and just let him sweep it. I'm not going to just pop, or I love it when I see somebody put the gaff underneath and try to do this. Just put the gaff hook down. They're really super soft, and just pull and just keep going. Look, don't gaff him and do this. Keep the momentum and put him in the boat. And to have your fish bag or whatever ready. Don't just plop him in the boat, because I can tell you some stories about some king mackerel and wahoo that will throw your toes. Because people plop him, they're so fired up, they throw him in the boat, and he's so slippery, it's the bottom of the boat, the mouth is open, and there goes Tim's calf. We're calling life flight or getting to the hospital or involved and all that. I've seen a guy like 50 stitches with a wahoo doing that. So when you gaff him, have a spot for him, and if you don't, stick his nose, gaff him and put his nose in the corner, and I'll grab his tail and just bend his body up. So his nose is going to be in the corner. This is with any place with type fish or anything like that, or dolphin especially. And I'll just stick his nose in the corner and bend his tail up, and he can't do anything after that. But the gaff part is very important. Don't throw it on your buddy. Don't throw the fish on your buddy. It's not worth it. So, does anybody have any questions at this time? Is there anything that anybody learned here today?
Good information.
I'll tell you a little bit about downrigger, and I'll be done. I simply like using the downrigger, and you don't have to, you don't want to. You can put, if you want to slow troll like we're talking about, if you want to put a lead in front of your bait to get it down a little further, that's cool. But I'll usually rubber band, I'll put a sliding lead, like a, 5 or 8 ounce or whatever, but I'll let my bait out, and then I'll slide I'll have my weight, and let my bait out about from here to you guys, and then I'll just rubber band it on me. You know what I mean? That way it doesn't slide right down onto the top of the leader. It's going to be a lot further away from the leader, so the fish will bite. And I'll just slide it down. It'll weight, it'll go down. Then when I reel up, when the weight comes up, I just pop off that the rubber band, and the weight will just slide back down to the swivel. Does that make sense, everybody? And I'll show you how that works. Another thing that I never do, that thing's about 50 years old, so I don't know if that's going to come apart.
Yeah, negative, go, sorry.
I've got 2 of these. I worked for Penn for like 15 years until they were bought out. So I got these. The very first thing I did when I worked for them, I got these in 1992, maybe, and I've had them ever since. I never leave the dock without my downrigger. If I'm going fishing with my buddies, I'm going to bring this particular setup. This is a quick mount senior. This goes on a bigger boat. I should have brought my junior, and I didn't. And this is a regular, like a 625 downrigger. I don't know if they make these anymore.
Not currently. The only one really right now is the Canon down.
Yeah, Canon makes a great downrigger. This one has a counter on it. I took the wire off and I put 200-pound spider wire or whatever. This is I think it is spider wire. And because it's thinner, it's kind of easier to work with. You can keep the wire on, it's fine. The wire kind of buzzes a little bit sometimes. I don't know if that scares the fish or not. But this is how I rig it up. You've seen some people that have a downriggers, and they got the ball here, right? And you got a little thing that goes off the back of the ball that hooks your line up to. You know what I mean? Y'all seen that? And then when you reel your downrigger ball up, and it's swinging all over the place, and you're trying to hook your bait onto that little thing that's on the back side of it, that doesn't work very well. With this rig, this is the swivel that goes right there. You go. Now, and I just built this, the 200-pound line. There's not a sleeve or a crimp or anything on it. It's all knots. And when I reel my downrigger ball up, now I'm on the side of the boat, and everything's right. This is in the water. It stays in the water, never comes out. When I'm fishing, that will never come out till I move. So I let my bait out, put some twists in it, put a loop in it. This is a black split. Snap it in there. I'll back up. If 2 people need to do it, you can both do it. And I'll let it down. If I'm fishing 100 feet, this is going 50 to 75. I'm going to cut the water column in half. And then I'm going to reel the slack up, make sure it's tight, and make sure your flip is tight so it doesn't bounce out a lot. With those cigar minute, you want a little lighter than with a big bait, a little tighter. But I tell them, this is the best way to catch kingfish in the world. I mean, you can control your depth, you'll catch them. You catch more fish this way. And then at the end of the day, then I reel up, and every time I reel up and down, that thing's going to stay in the water, and I'm going to put another bait out. I never have to have that ball in my hand, fighting that thing and trying to clip something onto it. You know what I mean? It's always in the water. And when I get ready to leave and we're going to another spot, I'll just unhook this. I'll pull the ball in the boat. I'll unhook this, and I'll stick this whole thing in a bucket. And that's what I'm running. That makes sense? And I'll show you any of this stuff afterwards if you want some more detail about that. But downrigger fishing, in my opinion, is absolutely the best way to go. At least have something down there where you get beneath the what's it, the water thermocline or what have you. And sometimes you can see those on your bottoms.
How about planers?
Planers are great. I think Tim brought some. Ooh, look at that sea stripe. Those are nice.
So out here where it's only 70, 80 feet deep, planer work is fine.
It will, but you live bait fish with planers. You have to use like dead bait. So if I was using planers, I would put this on, like Tim had set up there. I would put one of those on one side, a planer with a cigar minnow and a duster on the other side, and then put the regular cigar minnows out, and then I would troll about 2 to 3 knots to keep that planer down.
With an artificial?
With an artificial or a dead bait like this.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So much safer than a planer trolling lead.
yeah. All those planers are great, because I'd sell those more. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he's right, you know, trolling leads are great, planers are great, it's just your preference. Another thing is a planer spoon combination.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah, and that, you can cover water, you can, you know, it works real good, and you don't have to watch it all the time. But it just depends on, you know, what you want to catch. You want to catch a bunch of school fish, have a good time, relax. That's the way to go. Lure fish, planer fish, that's the way to go. If you want to experiment and get out there and see if you can catch a little bit bigger fish or different techniques with live bait, then, you know, you do your slow trolling and all that. There's all different, like what Todd was saying earlier, there's a lot of king mackerel around here. But to catch the bigger ones and to catch more of them, you know, some of the techniques we talked about here today will put you in that top 10%. That's what you want to do. When we fish these tournaments and stuff, we're looking around the room, and I want to be one of the top 10% guys that I know that I can catch it. And if I'm not, then hey, there's something wrong. I don't have the right crew, my tackle's not right, I don't have the right boat, I don't have the right bait, or something. So once all those combinations together, you know, the luck part's the only thing that you got to worry about.
As far as the king mackerel stuff goes, I want to add just a couple little things here. You know, to me, king mackerel are one of the funnest fish to catch. They're way cool. And this whole, whether we're lure fishing, live bait fishing, dead bait fishing, it doesn't matter. You probably saw me playing with the little umbrella rig that's over here. And I got the little bird rig behind me. These little fish attractors right here are so cool. It's one of the funnest things for me is when you're sitting there, you've got that rig out, you've got this rig out, you've got 3 live baits, and all of a sudden you're looking behind the boat, and that king mackerel goes, and he's higher than that flag on that boat with your bait in his mouth. That is cool stuff. And this kind of little rigs, like the little birds, or the little umbrella dredge rigs, those are fish attracting devices on their own. And this makes for a fun day of fishing a lot of times.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And you can see them one, they'll get right up behind them. Even the wahoos and the kings. And that's another way to do it. It's a great way, you know. Plus, there's all kind of, the way we just talked about, all these different techniques are perfect for any pelagic you're fishing for, whether it be yellowfin, whether it be blackfin, whether it be wahoos, or whether it be king mackerel, specifically king mackerel. But I've caught so many, my biggest wahoo that I've ever caught was on this, again, I told you before, on this rod, slow trolling, a live hardtail around the oil rig or a platform. And it could be right out here too. I caught a 47-pounder in a tournament in the 80s at the Paradise Rock, which is the same rock bottom. It kind of follows along all the way over here to Destin. But I just, like I agree with Tim said, I love kingfish. I love it the way they run. If you want to eat them, they're good table fare. They're not great. People, you know, say they're this or that. There's a lot of different recipes, especially online. I was looking at Brant Teacher. He does the Angler Up. His Angler Up on YouTube. And he does a recipe for a bunch of different fish every week. And he's got a really good king mackerel recipe that's just great. But I like to eat them fresh. I like to steak them instead of filleting them. I like to put them on the grill, marinate them with your favorite marinade, whether it be Worcestershire and Dale seasoning, or whether it be a mayonnaise-based something, or Italian seasoning, or whatever. Cut them in steaks about that big, put them on the grill, they're great. You can't, you know, if you want to freeze them and all that, then that's when you run into, you know, they're not that great. But, you know, fresh, they're great. You keep a 12-pounder. If you want to release them, we didn't talk much about that. Just have you something, a real good pair of snippers or whatever. Keep the fish in the water, drag them along, just cut the leader out and let them swim off. You want to pull them up by the tail, just grab them by the tail with a glove, and then so you tell them, pull them up and grab by their belly, just hold them up, take a picture, and the next guy's cut them off, and then just shoot him back in the water. Don't do this, how they try to revive fish and all this stuff. A king mackerel goes one way, forward and straight and very fast. As soon as he stops doing that, he's dead. So, boom, shoot him back in the water just as fast. He'll just shoot down there and he'll go. So, any questions, comments? Boy.
Guys, you guys coming out tonight?
Yeah, if anybody wants to see how I make these rigs, you can stay afterwards and I'll make a rig for you or what have you. Other than that, I appreciate you giving me some time and y'all have a good time fishing. It's fun out there.
What do you use it like this,
So,
downrigger?
I use it all the time, summer, winter, fall, yeah.
Stick it inside of your edge.
Sir,
Put it inside of your edge.
no,
You said you had a 24 edge.
oh yeah. I'll just put it in the rod holder. See, here's the thing. This has got a rod holder with it. So if you put it in the side, it's already got a rod holder in it. So you're not losing the rod holder. You know what I mean? That's why this whole setup is perfect. When I go fishing, this is in my hand with any of my buddies. If he's got some downriggers, that's not, oh, I got that, I got this, you go in the boat and has nothing. So I'm going to have 3 of those, 1 of these everywhere I go. And a bag full of those leaders. Yeah, good break, yeah.
We sell it, it comes just like you see it.
I would take that hook out of there because I don't want to fish on this.